everybody, and welcome to GenFriends. Tonight, we are starting our coverage of Relative Race, Day 1. Woohoo! Season 6 has started. And so, with me tonight, I have got Melissa Barker. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something secret about Melissa. She's never watched Relative Race before. So this is her first season talking about it with us. So y'all know Melissa Barker as the archive lady. And Melissa, we're so glad to have you.
I'm so glad to be here. Relative Race. Woohoo.
She's like, okay, I'm going to watch it because y'all keep telling me how good it is. And we have Shelley Murphy with us, the family tree girl.
Hi, I'm excited to be here tonight. And yes, I'm ready for the next season. So let's do it.
You just never know. You just never know what's going to happen. And they started right off. We thought we'd start off by talking about the teams. And I had to take notes, because we got to get to know these teams, right? So Team Blue is Paul and Anitria Lewis, and they are from North Carolina, which I was happy they're from North Carolina. But I thought it was really interesting because he brought up the point that Blue Team has never won. So
I know that was interesting. First, I had to think about that. So that means, though, because this is season 6, that means one of the teams has won twice.
Yeah. And don't ask me because I can't.
I know.
I'm just always so happy for them. I'm
going to go back and watch that.
I root for all of the teams. So I really never have. Well, a couple of
seasons. Now that's not true, because last season I wanted those sisters to win.
Yeah. So yeah,
and they did.
Yeah, you kind of get attached. Yeah. I thought it was funny that he said that he was a cerebral assassin. That's how he was. He's a cerebral assassin. That's how he's going to attack everything. And she's like, no, I'm going to go full force because I don't like to lose.
Right.
So I thought that was really interesting. So, and their story, does anybody remember what their story is? Anitria, she was given up for adoption.
Was she 3 weeks old?
She was little. She went to foster care for a while and was given up. And I think she's the one that had also, had a sister. Yeah.
That they kept. And then when she was born, so sad.
That happens, that kind of happens a lot. They have a child and then have another and realize, they can't. They're having a hard time taking care of the first one.
I think there was 2 teams that had that scenario.
Yeah, I think it was.
Exactly. Exactly. So she's looking to see what kind of connections that she can make and find her biological parents.
I like that they said that if they win, that they're going to use their money to adopt and pay it forward.
Yes.
That got me teary-eyed from the get-go. That got me teary-eyed from the get-go. So, and then let's see that we have Team Black, and that's JD and Jen, and they are from Utah. And JD found out when he was 12.
Right. That he was adopted.
His grandmother told him, your biological father is not your, so he wasn't adopted in the
your
sense
dad
of,
is not your dad.
Yeah. He's your dad. He raised you. He's your dad, but he's not your biological father. And so I can't imagine being told that at 12 years old and what that would do to you.
I wonder why. I wondered why his grandmother would tell him that at 12 years old.
And,
probably because nobody was telling. He wanted him to know.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just never know the situation, and we don't know mom's or dad's situation, why kids are put up for adoption all the time. So, we'll find that out later. But the thing of it is, when parents decide to do that, I have a cousin that adopted a 6-week-old, and she's always had that. He knows. He's like 9 years old, but he knows.
He knows. My kids all know. My adopted kids know that they were adopted because I don't want that surprise. She did. I don't want that surprise.
She didn't want someone else to confront him on that. And that's why she just always brought it up. Mama selected you. I had the opportunity. I selected you. He's 9 years old now. Yeah.
So JD's got to come to grips with the fact that the man that raised him, says this was not an adoption thing. So, we don't know. Was it an affair? Was the mom, was he, when the parents that raised him, was his mom and his dad that raised him? Was he already born when they got married? We don't know this whole story. They really haven't gotten into it. So that's his story. And so that's what he's looking for. He's looking for that information for on his biological father. And then we've got Team Green,
Mhm.
Deshay and Chris. They cracked me
Yes.
up. Pardon. They
They're
really
funny.
were. They're a funny team. They've got a
Yeah.
notebook, y'all. They've got a notebook.
She's the one who researched everything, except
She
for Charlotte.
researched the maps and how to read a map because there's no GPS for those that are new to relative race. They have a flip phone. They can take pictures and submit text, but there's no GPS or anything.
No
and
GPS. Yeah.
Dan
Did you see at the
fooled them.
beginning? Yeah, did you
Oh,
see
I
at the
know.
beginning?
That was funny, and I thought, oh, they changed the rules.
I did too. Because
Uh-huh.
yeah, if y'all didn't see it as they're starting, we'll talk about this again in a minute. But since we brought it up, well, no, it's fine. So the teams are there and they're getting ready to start.
Yeah.
Dan comes up to us and says, "For the first time ever,
Yeah.
you can use your phone and with its
And
Wi-Fi."
I wrote it on my
Funny.
notes, and then I had to cross it out.
So of course the teams were all going, "Woo-hoo! Yeah!"
Yeah,
And he
yeah,
goes-
they were so excited. Then they were good to go.
And then he's like, "I'm just messing with you," you know. Hand over those cell phones. And what was so funny is y'all know that I live tweet the show, and
Right.
one of the people that live tweets is Joe Henline for Team Black a couple of seasons ago, and I thought to myself, he's blowing a gasket. They're
Yeah.
gonna let them. And so I told him, I tweeted, I said, Joe, my first thought was, Joe Henline is not gonna like this. And he said, I yelled, what? And then a lot of people said, is that the noise we were hearing?
Yeah.
I thought, can you imagine going through all that with the maps?
Yeah.
And then and then they start letting you use your cell phone and the GPS. So that was really funny. But yeah, so Team Green has a little notebook with they had mapped out different places where they could go. From the Speedway in Virginia where they
Right.
started. They mapped out everything except for going to Charlotte, and that's where they ended up going.
That's exactly where they went.
And that's where they went and couldn't figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
So all those plans. So with Deshay and is it Chris? I think it's Chris.
Chris.
Yes.
Yes.
It's Deshay that's looking for again her biological family. She was adopted and she is looking for information on her
She was
biological
the
family. And she
3-week
was
old.
told. She was told like when she was she the one that was told when she was 7? I don't remember.
No, she's the one who has the hospital bracelet
The
that's got her
hospital-
mother's name
Yeah.
on it.
Yes.
Her mother's
had her
name's on the
mother's
hospital.
name.
She has that.
Yeah.
Yes, imagine
I think
that.
she's the 3-week-old.
Imagine having that bracelet all those years. And she said what triggered her for wanting to go on this race was her son
When she gave,
when she
Yeah.
gave birth. Yeah,
When she had her first
she wants a
child.
biological connection to share with her
Mhm.
son. So I thought,
Well,
yeah,
the
Well,
other
well-
thing that was an
yeah.
emotional for me
yeah,
is when she was saying that her son is the only biological thing person she
exactly.
has
That she
that
has
resembles her.
her.
Yes.
Mhm.
That, and I looked at that and I thought, oh my God,
And of
she's
course, then
right.
they have to zoom in on that beautiful
Of
little
course,
boy.
he
And I'm
was
like,
so cute.
whoa.
He was so
So
cute.
hope
Yes,
that she
he was
finds
so
somebody.
cute.
So that's their journey. And then last but not least, we've got Team Red, who really cracked me up, and that's they were really funny. Ray and Nicole and Campbell, and they're from Maryland.
Yeah.
And again, we've got another adoption story with Ray, and he's looking for his birth father.
Biography.
He's looking for his dad, and so
I think he was the other one that had a sibling that
Had
the
a-
parent
yes.
kept.
yes,
Is
yes,
he the one?
they said
But then
I
there's
think-
two of them.
I
There's
agree. I do.
two.
It is
Mhm.
him, and he
Yeah.
was saying that sometimes he feels like that little boy, and that he's come in second because
Yes,
he knows that
never.
he had a brother that was 18 months old when he was given up
Yes.
for
Yeah.
adoption,
Yeah.
and so he feels like anytime he doesn't come in first or win or whatever with anything, that again
Mhm.
Second.
he's not good enough.
Right.
So there's a lot of emotions, and there's a lot of things that are going to need to be processed through the show, and
Mhm.
for them to do this, live. I know that everybody that they go and see, they've gotten permission from and talked to, and it's nobody's being shocked and nobody's being surprised that family is showing up, and it won't just be these people that are looking for biological ties. They will find relatives of their spouses as well, because they always do, and they'll always find a surprise.
Well, that's what I wondered, because being a newbie, whenever they met their first family, they all of them asked the question. So which one are we? Yeah, and I'm thinking, well, wouldn't it just be all the ones that are adopted? And so you're telling me now that they might run into relations to their spouse as well.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. That's why they ask. They do the DNA for both.
Well, because I'm thinking, but don't they know that it's this one that's on the search? Okay.
So so
they'll
it's kind of cool,
both.
because you really don't know who they're going to find, and we assume, as we get in and talk about who they met.
Yeah.
Okay, they've met this person, now they're going to meet, A, B, and C after this. Well, it just depends, because maybe they're not available. Maybe they wouldn't meet, because there's been seasons where you can tell that they have found somebody and they didn't want anything to do with it.
Nope.
And maybe they gave them that information so they can meet later. But the really cool thing is everybody after day 10, they go back and they reconnect, and it's just wonderful. So
remember the previous season, I think it was season 4, and it was the dad and his son, and the dad was looking for his mother. And of course, towards the end, he gets to Mama. Mama didn't want to be on camera at first. Then she got on camera. Everybody was bawling across the country, because this man found his bio mother.
Exactly. Now, what I do like too about relative race in this, because there's some, and you guys know this, there's some of these adoption meet people shows that I don't care for.
Yeah.
I don't feel the love. I don't feel the support from the teams. I don't feel I just don't feel it. And I know with relative race, if they get into a story that they would feel is too much for the contestants, they'll say, okay, this is too much. We'll tell you what we found, but we're not going to exploit this and put this on television.
I like
ratings. For ratings. We will pull back and we will give you everything. We'll help, facilitate you meeting, but we're not just going to show this just to, get some big ratings. So
it's a family show.
It's a family show, and it's meant to connect families. And like they said last night, open doors. They're opening doors to these people. So they start at the Virginia International Raceway, which they say is out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know. They were asking beforehand, where do you think they're starting? I said, we've got, raceways around here. And I thought, well, maybe they're in Darlington, or but they were in Virginia. And
they could have gone to Bristol.
They could have, see? And I'm like, every time they're near me, I'm like, why didn't I know they were there? I was like, can't y'all just kind of tell me?
Let us
know. Let us just be in the crowd in the background. But no, it's all hush hush. So what was really funny is they're all the teams are dressed in their
colors,
driver, or whatever you call them, suits, whatever you wear when you're in your
racing uniform.
Yeah, when you drive, and I think it was Team Black. He says, I should have known this wouldn't be something like wrangling children or something like that. That this is going to be, because Dan pulls up, in this race car. Here comes Dan.
Yeah.
And speeding up in the race car, and of course, like we said, the first thing he tells them is, they don't have to give away their cell phones. So that and of itself just got them all going, but what they had to do was they were on the pit crew, and they had to change before they could leave in their cars. They had to rotate the tires from the front to the back, or front back to
and pass
and pass the safety inspection while they were doing it.
Yes.
But there was only 2 cars, so they had to draw keys out of a hat to say what team would be with what team. And so red and blue were together, and then green and black were together.
Green and black. Yeah.
I was like, what's left? Yeah, green and black.
Sitting there, wait a minute. I'm going to start taking notes.
Start taking notes. Yeah, so they're together, and they have to do it. And that was funny, because I thought some of the, because they always do that little where they talk to the teams, and some were like, I don't know if I wanted to, if I was just choosing. But how do they know who to choose? So that makes me wonder, and I'd like to ask, do they get to talk? That's one question that we've never really asked in these seasons that we've been doing it, is how much time do the teams have together before the race starts? Do they meet? Do they talk to each other? Do they know the purpose for each other being on the race, because some of them were saying last night, I don't think this team has much car sense. How do they know that if they hadn't
Well,
talked to each
I'm
other?
going to answer that.
Oh,
and I
good,
might
okay.
not, it
Ooh.
might not be totally true. Because this year,
Relative race according to Shelley.
well, each team, there was a promo video on the site.
That's
so
true.
there was a gathering ahead of time. I don't know how many times that they would have met with them. And so
that's a good point.
They met each other.
That's a good point.
You know, I think Dan and the Relative Race got them all together. Then they did the promos, and again, they're together. So they know what's coming. Think about it. All the signing off authorizations, but they met together, and I think they met and they know each other's names. And they also know each other's stories.
I think
so
you're
Dan,
right.
you need to come on.
That's right.
On
We're inviting you back, Dan.
And explain it. Yeah, and explain it if I'm wrong. So.
Shelley's throwing down the gauntlet. Come on, Dan. We
Come
need
on,
some clarification.
We have questions.
We have questions. You thought we'd have asked. You know, we watched it so many seasons.
6 years. It's really 6 years.
Yeah. But, you know, they switch things around and stuff like that. So anyway, so they're, and of course, I don't know how to change tires. You know, green team, I don't know how to put gas in my car, let alone change it. I was laughing at these teams as they were. I wouldn't know how to do the lug nuts with that big old thing.
Well, I would have figured it out. $50,000? Come on. I'm going to figure it out.
Well, which one was it that one of them just did it? And all the rest of them stood around.
Yeah, one of the guys knew how to do it, and the wife knew how to pretty much how to do it. But they put them on backwards. The lug nuts.
Backwards.
They put them on backwards, and it's funny that they even screwed. But you know, it's got the rings in there on both sides. So anyway,
the team of green and black got done first. Yeah. And so what they had to do as soon as you got done, you had to run to your car. Your color Hyundai.
Yes.
Put your ring up because.
And the guys, could you see the guys were so excited by getting on that racetrack?
Yes.
And the women were like, but we're in a Hyundai and we're on this racetrack. And we're in a Hyundai.
Stop. Don't go so fast.
I know.
But there were Formula One drivers on that with them.
I know. And
so,
the one
team
was
green.
On the green team, the guy says, this is my dream.
I would love that.
Oh my gosh.
I would have done that.
So she thought she was going to die because he kept trying to cut in front of that and wouldn't let it go. So they had to go around once and then they could leave.
Twice.
Yeah.
Had to go around twice.
Sorry. Thank you, Melissa. Twice. They had to go on twice and then they could head off.
Yes.
To their, and that didn't work so well either because Team Green didn't map Charlotte's.
No.
And then who was it went to the wrong house?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
The girl, the lady, the girl. The girl.
Team? I've got it written
with the
down.
little boy. With the little boy.
She went. Ringo or Team
Deshay, Kristen Deshay?
Yeah, the
green team
has the little baby.
Yes, because
she went next door, and her two half sisters were next door.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. You know, they were lucky they got out and even got to Charlotte, and then when they got there, they went to the wrong house. Team Black had a horrible time trying to find their house.
They
did. Horrible time trying to
find it. And then it just all of a sudden there it was.
There it was. Blue, Team Blue. Everybody kept passing them, so it was like they were going in circles. There goes the blue team again. They just couldn't get out of the area.
Twice they couldn't get out of there.
Team Red lucked out, and they found the gas man, somebody, and asked him to help.
Yeah, led them right to it.
And she's cracking me up, you know, on the trip because you know they've got the video going in the car, and she's singing and dancing, and green team decides. See, every year, Melissa, they text each other. Usually, they start trash texting each other.
Trash
I mean,
talking.
it's not. They're just playing with each other.
But then they're trying to use these flip phones.
They can't. Who can type? I mean, I can't. I got fat fingers on my smartphone, so I can't even imagine. So, Team Green
and being able to take the selfie.
Yes, to take the selfie
that they're in the town or the state that they're in. So that was funny. But you know what was interesting?
What's that?
I mean, I'm not adopted. I have adoptees in the family.
Mm-hmm.
But when they met people, that was first cousins.
Yes.
And half sisters.
Yes.
Half sisters.
Yes.
Green team, she met her half sisters.
Yeah, they
and
met
then the
really
other
close
guy,
people this time, didn't they? Yeah, for day
and
one.
You think about this in our genealogy world. That's another and I thought, this is going to be an emotional one. When it's the first night out, they're meeting a first cousin and their half sisters, the two different teams, and I said that is just
something.
too close.
That is something.
Yes.
I want to bring, before we tell who they met, I want to bring up something really funny that made me laugh. We're talking about that texting. So
yes.
green team text black team to just to say, you know, that was awesome. We got out of there fast. Thanks for the help. Good luck today.
Yeah.
And then team black, she's waiting.
Yeah.
She's waiting. And she's waiting, and they can't figure out how to text. She said, I can't make it go, but she's trying to text back. And then Team Green, she says, I can just see it now. On the bottom, it's going to say 72 hours later that they were going to get the text message. And of course,
that was funny.
72 hours later. So she finally did. She said, we wanted to send a great big old nice text. And she got one line out. Thank you. Good luck to you too. Or we love you too, or whatever.
So they'll be kidding throughout
they'll be
season.
kidding throughout the, you know, teasing each other and all that kind of stuff. And especially as they do the you know, challenges, and sometimes they end up in the same place and they do the challenges together again. They won't usually from here on out because they're going in different directions. So, but every once in a while they'll end up in the same place. So
you just never know. It's been different every season.
Yeah, every season, because it depends on where their, you know, where their relatives are. So well, let's start with Team Green, since we kind of talked about them and showing up in Charlotte and going up to the wrong door. Just kind of knock.
Do you think that she was surprised by her half sisters?
I
mean their
ethnicity,
their race. Yes.
Well, and that just shows the dad is probably white, but mom on
they showed pictures of their grandfather? Or their
that's the white side.
That's the white
side. I'm saying the white side.
Anyway, right, it's okay.
We know what you mean. Yeah.
But so their mom was either Asian or something, or Thai or whatever, or they could have been black. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know.
But there was a resemblance there.
They did.
Yes.
And they were all half sisters.
Yeah.
That's three. Yeah. They got the same father.
Yeah.
And then that's three different moms.
Yep.
That's what it sounds like. And they couldn't, and they unfortunately couldn't tell her anything about their dad because he died when they were young. And so they couldn't say, okay, I know this about my dad. Maybe he's your dad. They didn't know. So they did show.
But he died?
The half sisters, their dad had passed away. So they weren't.
Yeah, but it's the same dad.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, because they showed the picture of their dad and his siblings, and they said one of these people could be my biological parent. So I don't know that I don't
remember them saying that their father was dead, though.
No.
Well, they said that's why they didn't know anything about that side of the family, because he had passed away when they were young, and they couldn't.
I didn't remember that.
I didn't hear that. I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah, watch it again. And anybody watching, if I'm not correct, I apologize, because sometimes, the stories run together, but I could have sworn that they said.
The only one that I heard that said that their parent had died was
died in the car
JD.
But I don't know that they were just saying they couldn't help her with anymore with the story. And so,
because they didn't know
because they didn't know either. I don't think it's because they were dead. I think it's because they didn't know.
So I apologize if I made a mistake.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I heard them say. So
because remember,
too many stories run together.
But remember, they had just found each other. The two half sisters.
Yes.
They had just found each other. Yeah. And so they're also looking for dad.
So cool. And I love that when they do that. And Melissa, they'll do that on the show. It won't just be, in years past, it's not just about those people running the race.
No.
It's about who they're meeting as well. And a lot of times they'll say, one of the race members will say, you're the first biological family member I've ever met.
Yeah.
And the relative that they've just met says, you're the first biological relative I've ever met.
I just think we're all connected.
Yeah. And so
it's the world gets really small.
It gets really, really small. Team Blue met somebody that Shelley knows, and we're really excited about this.
And I tell you something, I want to meet Andre. I have got to meet Andre.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yes. So we won't say much.
We're working on that.
Yeah. Andre Kearns. And when I saw the promo on the team, and I thought, that looks like Andre. And then I just sloughed it off. And then when I finally got to watch the show, and I thought, oh my gosh, hot darn it, there he is.
Yes.
And the tree he wrote out, Andre, of course, you're going to have him, but he's a professional genealogist. He is a DNA geek. And last year I got to hear him at NGS, or was that 2 years ago, or last year was Raleigh? 2 years ago.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, at Raleigh. And I met his parents and stuff. And he was doing a presentation. Very, very excellent researcher. So he was amazing. And he rolled that whole thing out. So we didn't get to see the details where she was at or her line.
And I know that in the genealogy world, there was a collective gasp.
I know.
That's out. And then he took photos, and he was kind of lining them up. The ancestral couple. And what I love too is he was explaining to her that there was that one-room schoolhouse that their ancestor had put together, and she's like, "Well, that's what I do. I teach.
I'm a teacher.
Wow, just amazing, absolutely amazing." And so he said, "So somewhere on this chart are your biological parents. They're on here somewhere.
They're on there.
I don't know where," he said, "because all I know right now is the DNA matches."
Yeah.
But he wants to.
Did you see how
he will figure that out?
Did you see how emotional even he got?
The husband or
Andre?
Yes.
He was wiping away tears when someone else found out something.
Yes.
And he was also cheering and jumping up and down when they
won first place.
Yes. Everybody gets so emotionally involved, and that's what I think is cool too. It's not just the teams for their families, the teams for everybody's family. Dan, everybody's family, because he'll be crying.
He was almost he got going too on the half.
I know he gets emotional as well. So
we're calling you out, Dan. Come on.
Team Red, Ray.
Yeah.
He knocked on that door, and when he said, "Whose relative are you?" and there was a whole bunch of them that came down the stairs, and it was his first cousin, and the hugs and the love, and he said, "I went right back to being that little kid,
being 4 years old again." He said,
but feeling that love, and they were saying, "You're not alone anymore."
And she just took him.
I know he said that he appreciates, his family that raised him, and he loves them, and he feels that connection and that bond with them. But that little piece he needed to have because of those emotional feelings of, coming in last all the time and being second best all the time, and them connecting with them, because you never know. I'm sure there's that fear of if they find anybody, they're really not going to want to talk to me, and this is not going to be what I hoped.
There could be some rejection.
And she kept saying to him, and there's a whole lot more, and there's a whole lot more. And I thought,
I'm hoping,
it's just beautiful.
I'm hoping, parents and grandparents and aunts and uncles and siblings and all that kind of stuff. That's what you wish for them. So that was great for them. I really thought that was really cool that he was able to meet them. And then of course I saved Team Black for last, because there's always, every week there's going to be a story that gets you. One of those teams is going to get you more than anybody
I welled
else.
up.
Anybody want to talk about JD and what happened?
Well, JD found out about who his father was, but found out that his name, and found out that he had died young at the age of 32. Now, I wasn't sure how old JD was.
I think when they were holding it and looking at the obituary, I believe his wife said, or I think
9?
she said, "You were 9."
9, okay.
You were
and
9.
So, his
cousin.
His cousin.
It was.
Okay, yeah. And she's a genealogist. So I thought, wow, great. Genealogist. Yes. So, but she really, I thought she did an excellent job.
She was like a professional
walking
counselor.
him through that hard time.
Oh yeah.
And just, I don't know, like I said, I'm new, so I don't know. I don't think they get to meet or see any of these people beforehand.
No.
But I wonder if any of these people are a little bit coached a little bit before they meet.
It is a TV show.
Yeah, so I don't.
But you got to realize, for him to find out, think about all these years of yearning for the father figure. Well, not necessarily the father figure, because he was raised by a stepdad, but to look for your bio father, and then he dies at the age of 32 in an accident.
Right.
Something about a semi or all of that.
Right.
And it was like, oh my gosh, that's painful. But she was so good with him to walk him through what happened and all of that. And they kind of favored, didn't you guys think?
Yeah, kind of did.
Kind of favored.
They did. This is all really close to my heart in a lot of ways, because my husband's stepfather, he was not adopted per se, but he was pretty much abandoned and raised by his grandparents. And so it wasn't just a few years ago, he asked me to try to find his father. And I researched and I found his father, but his father had died in the 80s. But I was able to find his aunt, which was his father's sister, who was in her 90s. And he went home. They were here visiting, and they live in Texas. And so they went back to Texas, and he actually looked her up and went and visited to her and got to meet her and find out about his father.
Wow.
So that's wonderful, though.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But so, and he was in his late 60s then. So, and I'm like Shelley said, I've never been adopted, never even know, I don't even have anybody that I know that's adopted in my family. And so, I just know that you can see that it doesn't leave you as a child.
No.
It stays with you. It's like I always say about divorce to me, because my husband is a product of divorce, and to this day, he has things about him from that. And so I think, and adopt, because it affects the kids. But and so I can see adoption, that it just stays with you, especially if
and especially if you don't have any answers, if there's just no answers, none whatsoever.
It's amazing to me, and it was said more than once on the show, it's amazing to me how much these adoptees want something tangible that they're connected to.
Right.
And I would, which one of them was the psychologist or the therapist? One of the team members.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly which one.
The husband.
It's one of the wife. One of the husbands, but I can't remember
the husband,
which one.
Yeah.
I almost
counselor.
But I was thinking,
the teacher.
Yeah. And I just wondered, I wonder if someone like that could explain those emotions from an adoptee, that that it just stays with them their entire lives.
Exactly.
I'm going to give you a quick example. DNA connection, and it was the adoptees, the mother who adopted this little girl, and apparently I showed up as her highest match. And so I'm talking with the mom, and okay, who's this, this, that, and the other. And so I'm sharing that with my mother. She said, oh, that's one of those Davis boys. Because the girl who was the adopted kid only had limited information. Her mom had 4 daughters. Her dad was a truck driver. Know when she's born. That was all the information she had. So they connect with me on Ancestry. And it was more the mother, the mother who adopted her, that was pushing her to find out, about her ancestry. And it's interesting because the first thing I said, does she have African American in her? And she said, yes. And I said, how much? Because I didn't know how far this was going to be. I'm not an expert DNA, but I get the concept per se. So she had 13%. So I'm thinking, okay, this is probably third cousin or something like that. But anyway, to make it short, we all met in Michigan. And there was about 30-some folks there, and she went to every person. Hi, my name is so-and-so. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm your cousin. Hi, I'm talking about the emotional part. Even to the little kids, she went and introduced herself. Hi, I'm your cousin. And she had been carrying, like, I don't really need to know. I'm happy with my brothers and sisters. But let me tell you what, when she got there and then got history on her family and things, and it was on my mother's side, that paternal side on my grandmother's side. And so we were able, because we were basically down the road from the homestead, and she had an auntie, because we determined who her dad was, and an auntie was still alive. They were 1 week apart when the aunt died. Wow. They only got to
y'all had your own relative race episode.
We did. But that emotional stuff came out.
And JD was just saying that you know, that he was so grateful, and it was his cousin's name was Lisa, and he said, I'm so grateful, she was an angel, she was able to bring me in. He said, I felt that tie, that bond with her right away. And the way she told him, you know, the way that she was able to explain to him, just, you know, it was devastating news, but she said it in such a way that he could process it and, you know, accept it. And, you know, she had the obituary to give him and things like that. So
I thought it was very touching how all the other teams reacted to that as well.
Gosh.
Oh, the one guy said that was the toughest thing out of everything was hearing about JD's dad.
Yeah. So at the end, you know, as they're meeting with that the teams meet, you know, with that Skype call at the end of each day, and they talk to each other about, you know, what their day and who they met, and they introduce, you know, their cousins, and everybody's so happy for everybody, but the tears were just flowing. And I know, because each of those teams has somebody on that team that's looking for a biological parent, that's got to be each of their fears, is that that is going to happen. And to see that already on day one, it's happened to it.
I wonder why I mean, I don't know anything about, like I said, I'm new, so it seems to me that you didn't want to leave them in agony, or why would they do that on the first day? It seems to me that they, I'm not saying it's over, but I'm just
it's also locational. So think about it. You got 4 cars going where they were at for when they started off at the racetrack. You had one person, one family had to go 11 hours, wasn't it? And then there was 3 hours, and then there was 2 hours or something. So it's also locational, and that all that is already mapped out. So where they go to the next one, because somebody had the longest ride, and I thought it was 11 hours. But then
and one only had like an hour.
Hour.
One was really
but
short.
They were in Virginia, and I think to North Carolina or something like that.
And it could, you know, and it could be because that was such devastating news that they could do that first, so that he didn't have those hopes. And so hopefully, I mean, they're not going to keep them in as a team if there's nothing else they can do for him. Correct. They would have just brought him in and said, this is what we found. You know, and then gone with a different team, because they have interviewed, they know what the stories are, they know who they've been able to find before they even start rolling, before they even say you're gonna be on the race.
Selected.
They know these stories, so there's got to be something else for him. There's got to be something else. So I'm hoping that maybe he's got a grandparent,
his whole father's side,
or
aunts,
a sibling
uncles,
that's still, you know, anything like that. So, you know, there's got to be more for him, or else they would have just said from the beginning. And so I loved how just from day one, they seem so bonded, just from their stories, and they're sharing, and they're crying, and the men were saying, I've never cried so much in my life until we started this journey.
And the bracelets, wasn't that kind of cool?
They all were representing
Where
each other.
Where did you get those from?
You can get them from Relative Race. Go on to BYU TV.
You
can get them. I actually got these at Roots Tech. So you can't see it, but I'm representing with my Relative Race shirt.
All right, Dan.
which
All
I
right,
which I
Dad.
always wear during relative race season when we're doing Gen Friends. So in no particular order, I have my bands. So they all had their bands, and that was the first time that they had all done that. I thought that was great.
I want a
But did you notice that?
So I'm going to order one.
Did you notice that one team though didn't have any bands on?
I didn't.
No, I thought they all did.
I don't know they did.
There was one team. It was the green team. They didn't have any bands on it. I was thinking, is that just something they just didn't have any, or was that something?
Maybe they forgot to put them on.
I bet them on. Yeah, when they were doing their Skype call at the end.
Yes,
Green team did not have their band.
I didn't notice that. Look at you all.
See, I'm going to watch it as soon as we get done.
She's watching it again. She's fast forwarding to the end.
Yep.
No, I'm going to rewatch the whole thing.
Well, because they all kept holding him up and showing him for support. And I noticed, wait a minute, the green team doesn't have any bands on their arm.
Oh my goodness, Melissa, this season is going to be good. You're so
yes, you're so observant.
I'm taking notes.
Yeah, well, see, I do. My problem is the first time I watch it, I'm live tweeting.
Yeah, that's why I want to watch it.
Then I have to go back
and do notes.
No, and then I got to go back and watch it again. And so even 2 times I'm missing stuff because sometimes I'm crying too.
Last night I was thinking about you. I thought, I know she's tweeting something. Maybe I should go over to Twitter. And as I'm watching, I went, I can't do Twitter and notes. I can't do this.
At least I can. I'm sure some, 18, 19-year-olds, 22-year-olds can do it. I can't.
That brain can flip-flop.
I can't do it.
Not happening. So,
because then I get into conversations with other people that are tweeting, and then I'm like, I've missed 5 minutes. I got to watch it again to see what I missed.
But you can stop and play when you watch it again. So you
exactly.
Have that benefit.
And that's what I try to do to catch names. I think this is going to be a good season, and like we said at the beginning, the fact that they met first cousins on day 1
and half sisters,
that's amazing, because that usually doesn't happen until
later
in the show. They're meeting like first cousins or second cousins 3 times removed.
And Melissa, it's 10 weeks.
10, I've got that. 10 weeks.
Day 10 is the final, and so their whole goal is to get to day 10.
Well, it's going to be interesting.
Yes. Now let's quickly before we wrap up, we need to tell everybody who came in first and what happens to the other team. So, drum roll, who came in first on day 1?
Team Black.
I'm letting y'all. No, not Team Black.
Team Black came in fourth.
Nope, there were
Green.
8. It was Team Blue. There were just 8
minutes.
Blue. They were
Blue.
only
That's
8
right.
minutes.
I'm sorry.
Over there a lot of time.
Yeah,
That's
that was
good.
Team Blue. I forgot.
That's good. And then it was Team Green. And she was like, if we'd had that map, we would have taken that right road. We would have come in. And then it was Team Red, and they were 35 minutes over. And then poor Team Black, 45 minutes. And that was because they couldn't find the road, They just couldn't find that road.
Yeah.
And so they got a double whammy. Their first strike.
They did.
Their first strike and, finding out that his father had died. So that was hard. And everybody was talking about that afterwards too, not only, did he find that out, but he got his strike. And they all were, telling him, as Dan always says, tomorrow is another day. Anything can happen. Things change. Just because you got to strike this day doesn't mean that's a pattern. They could go on now to win. It's happened. So that doesn't mean they're out. That doesn't mean really too much at this point. Yeah. So,
they have a scorecard too. Did you guys see that? Go back on the website. And where they have the promos for each team, you also have like a scorecard.
I'll have to go find that.
Yeah.
Like
I know what we forgot to mention. We forgot to mention the chart that Team Blue got. He got that chart that his for him to fill. She gave
to fill out as he goes along.
That was excellent.
I thought, what a wonderful
what a
idea.
Gift as you go. Fill it out.
Fill it out. She goes, you get to put names in.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was fabulous. So nobody got a coming in first day 10 benefit like they usually do. Listen, past seasons,
a little later.
If you came in first, you got a day 10 benefit.
But he talked about a benefit for the next episode,
right. It wasn't on the first night.
the other teams have a 5-minute penalty.
Yes, they do.
Right.
So it's not a day 10 benefit.
Okay.
I think that starts about
and it
third
might,
week
but it
third.
seemed like it started a little earlier last time. But it does. I mean, they do things different every time, and so I just thought that was interesting that all 3 of the other teams. He's like Dan said, you're going to be sitting on the side of the road at some point for 5
minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine that? That's going to be
actually what would be
that's
bad.
That's going to be horrible.
If you see them riding by you.
There they go. Oh no. So Dan ends it with saying, every day brings challenges and every day brings family.
That's right.
And that's what they need to look forward to. Every day brings family. So I'm excited to, take this journey with them and take this journey with y'all as we get together every week and talk about what's happening. And I'll try to be more coherent when I'm watching it. Like I said, if
we got Melissa dead, now, the archivist.
That's right.
Here. Apparently, we're not marking down enough details.
Come on, y'all got to get with it.
I know. And hopefully this season I won't call anybody by the wrong name. And
I probably will.
It just happens, it just happens. So
I'm going to write my notes.
We are excited about season 6 of Relative Race, and we hope you are too. And we appreciate you watching. And Shelley and Melissa, I appreciate you being here and talking Relative Race season 6, day 1 with me. And we'll see you again next time. I almost said on Relative Race. I'll do my Dan for GenFriends. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a good one.